Right now, somewhere in the world, a person with a PhD is losing 40 minutes to an algorithmic feed they opened because they were mildly bored. Marcus Aurelius described exactly that behavior, precisely, clinically, in a private journal he kept around 170 AD while running a war he didn't want, in a military tent on the Danube frontier. He called it the mark of common men, and he wrote the cure for it 2,000 years before the engineers who designed the problem were born. The passage is Meditations, Book 4, Section 3. Marcus writes, "Men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores and mountains, and thou too art wont to desire such things very much. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in thy power whenever thou shalt choose to retire into thyself." Sit with that. He is describing a universal human impulse, the craving to escape the pressure of your own mind by going somewhere, consuming something, doing anything except sitting still with yourself. And his judgment is precise, not cruel. This is common, not shameful, not weak. Common. The behavior of someone who has not yet understood where peace actually lives. To feel the weight of this, you need to know who was writing it. Marcus Aurelius was not a philosopher with afternoons free for reflection. He was the emperor of Rome at a moment of almost continuous crisis. 4 wars on 4 fronts, a plague that killed an estimated 5 million of his citizens, a senate that plotted against him, and a son he already suspected would unravel everything he built. He had access to every luxury, every distraction, every escape the ancient world could offer. And he chose, night after night, to sit and write to himself about governing his own mind before he presumed to govern anything else. The Stoics believed in what they called the hegemonikon, the governing faculty, the seat of rational choice. The argument was simple but radical. Every external event, every piece of news, every opinion, every sensation arrives first as a raw impression. It is not reality. It is raw material. What you do with that impression, whether you accept it uncritically or examine it before letting it in, is the only thing that actually determines who you are. Marcus inherited this from Epictetus, the freed slave who had argued that a man in chains could possess more genuine freedom than an emperor, because freedom was never a condition. It was a discipline. Marcus was writing about a war that predates Rome by millennia. The war for your own attention. And no civilization in history has ever been better resourced to lose that war than ours. Here is what Marcus described in the language of 2026. The infinite scroll is not an aesthetic choice. It was engineered to remove the natural stopping point that every finite object, every book, every newspaper, every conversation contains. The notification system runs on variable reward schedules, the same psychological mechanism that powers slot machines. You don't know if the next pull will be interesting, which is exactly why you pull again. Algorithmic feeds don't just serve you content. They study your micro-hesitations, the half-second pause before you scroll past something, the video you watched for 9 seconds before closing. They are constructing a behavioral model of your nervous system and feeding it precisely what keeps it activated. Not satisfied. Activated. This is the retreat Marcus named, not to a mountain house or a coastline, to a feed, to a notification, to a headline. The same ancient impulse, I am restless, something outside me must fix it, now has an infinite, frictionless, personally calibrated answer, available the moment your eyes open each morning. And here is what would have disturbed him most. Every time you answer that impulse, the restlessness compounds. Each session teaches your mind that the cure for overwhelm is more input. You are not escaping the discomfort. You are training yourself to be incapable of sitting with it. In 2026, AI systems are generating content at a rate no human audience can meaningfully absorb. Not thousands of articles per day, hundreds of thousands. The information environment is no longer signal with noise around it. It is noise engineered, at scale, to feel exactly like signal. The feed is infinite, your attention is not, and the exchange is not equal. Marcus couldn't have imagined this specific machine, but he diagnosed the behavior it exploits with forensic accuracy. So what would Marcus Aurelius actually do differently? Not in theory, concretely. The first practice is prosauch, attention to self. Before opening any feed, any platform, any notification, you name your reason. Out loud if you need to, not silently. Out loud. The Stoic discipline was about placing a conscious gate between stimulus and response, intercepting the impression before it took root. This is not a willpower exercise. Willpower implies resistance. This is earlier than resistance. It is the simple act of completing the sentence. I am reaching for this because blank. If you can't finish it, you already know what's about to happen to your next 90 minutes. The second practice comes from Book 6, Section 52. Things do not touch the soul, for they have no entrance to it. Our perturbations come only from the opinion which is within. For 2026, this is a specific habit. When you encounter a headline designed to trigger your anxiety, and they are all designed to trigger your anxiety, you name the mechanism before engaging with the content. Not as cynicism, as clarity. You observe the impression arriving, and you say, internally, this is content optimized to activate my threat response. That act of naming creates distance, and distance is the beginning of choice. The third practice is the protection of the first hour. In Book 5, Section 1, Marcus writes, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being. He did not check his correspondence first. He did not survey what had happened in the empire while he slept. He wrote, he thought, he governed his own mind before the world made its claims. Your phone has an on time. You choose it. It is not the moment your eyes open. Marcus Aurelius didn't have a rule for the internet. He had something more durable, a rule for the mind. And the internet is simply the most sophisticated version of the same old problem. Attention is the architecture of the self. What you attend to, repeatedly, deliberately, or not, is what you become. That was true in a tent on the Danube in 170 AD. It is true in front of your screen right now. Next week, Epictetus, a man who was legally owned by another human being, and what his concept of the dichotomy of control means in an age when AI systems can predict your behavior more accurately than you predict your own. If this gave you something worth keeping, subscribe. Not for the algorithm, because you decided it was worth your attention,